I was gonna wait until tomorrow to start my video on um explaining or like giving my another tool modality or just another tool to be used and the way to use it with discernment when you are in the beginning stages of healing after just coming out of extreme survival mode, we'll just say, where your nervous system is in overdrive and has been for years and years and years, potentially decades. And one of the tools that I used to connect with my higher self and connect with my spirituality um, in as best of way as I could manage to at that time is I was able to utilize the algorithms of just YouTube. Now, I'm not saying that this wouldn't work on any other social media platform. This is the only one that I was personally called to use. So when I speak about social media, I'll just be speaking about YouTube. I mean, I know that sometimes TikTok videos sometimes would come in, but I don't have an account, and there's a reason. After my, identity got stolen from the con artist, what had happened he stole like all my social media, all my email addresses, all my email accounts, just all accounts in general. And I also started realizing at that time, basically anything that a lot of the social media is just a pure predator's grounds for catfishing and just scams and con artists. So and to me it didn't really benefit me to get another account. To me, at that time, it was not really about doing any of that anymore, which is another reason why doing this is huge, because I like it. If you would have asked me even a year ago, but especially like 7 years ago, there would have been no fucking way back then that you would have caught me doing this. And then a year ago, it was only just starting. A seed was only just being planted. Actually, I'm sorry, 2 years ago. But even a year ago, I guess the seed was initially being planted 2 years ago, and then about a year ago, kind of got pushed down there a little bit more into the soil and has turned into this now at this point. But so I was gonna, I had a topic actually. Hold on, I have to pause. Okay, my bad. So yeah, the again that happens because of my brain fog. Still trying to detox toxicity from mold exposure out of my body, and that'll be a whole nother video and a different message. Lots of good information. And so yeah, um, using the algorithm of specifically YouTube. Um, when I started the healing and I had cultivated these particular 3D jobs that I would work that kept me in my alone spaces so that I could process my trauma therapy, because I knew I'd be crying pre and post, and this would allow me to have a session on a day that I worked if I, felt the need to still keep releasing when I had to be at work. I could do it and it wouldn't, bother anybody. So, it was like I was multitasking in a sense. And not that that's good or bad or whatever. It's just that's what was happening. And so I, at that time, finally had gotten an actual iPhone at that time after having flip phones for 2.5 years, because I had to keep getting rid of them because the hackers kept rehacking back into my phones to track me. So when I finally got a good phone again for the first time in about 3 4 years, 3 years, and at work as well, one of the things I would do is I finally started, after getting this phone, would start to educate myself and listen to podcasts and books while I was at work as another like so I could educate myself while I'm at work and I could work on my spiritual side of things. And so one of the ways that after I'd start searching for videos. Let's just say I'd search on either a book or a podcast on I don't know, manipulators and manipulation and antisocial spectrum and mental illness like bipolar, so many different things. Just, so many different areas of things that I experienced that I would research on how to overcome them, basically. So, again, this is the whole self taught thing. Um, so one of the other things that would happen, obviously, as you all know from using YouTube, is once you start putting your search in, it starts recognizing what you want. But at the same time, I know my spirit team was starting to send me messages at that time because I could not just sit down and meditate. I had too much anxiety. I was having daily panic attacks still. And to even leave the house to go to work, even though I was in my own environment by myself, didn't have to see a single person if I didn't need to or didn't want to, that was still hard to just be out. I basically had to learn how to relive in society again. And so from the bottom. And again, my soul really wanted some journeying and adventure on this trip. So this is what this is about. But so the Pleiadians started speaking to me, and this is how I knew I had a connection with them. And then like the Sirians and the Andromedans were sending me messages through the YouTube algorithm. And again, let's see here. Well, no, let me say that same as 3D or physical face to face as it is AI style. Discernment, discernment, discernment. Same rules apply. So you can't just assume that each one coming in is meant for you. Obviously not. We know that. But you have to even, if you're chosen, you're going to have other negative and low vibrational energies from like the powers that were and other things trying to hold on 1 second. My battery's going to die. I have to plug in. Hold on. Sorry about that. Pause for a minute. Had to plug in all of a sudden my laptop was going to die. Um, so yeah. So the algorithms through YouTube are sending me messages. Then I'm getting ascended masters and Thoth and a lot of different like Horus and just a lot of reference to back to in Egyptian times. I'd have stuff coming in about witches, good witches. And I'm trying to think what else in the beginning, but the one that really caught my attention was the Pleiadians in the beginning. So when I'd be at work, I'd get these downloads from the Pleiadians, and it really was like I was being guided. Like I'd have a question of something that, from processing, something I had just been working through with my EMDR therapist. And, I'd started learning how to pose questions out to the universe. And I would pose the question and all of a sudden it would come back to me in one of the answers would come to me in this way, in this fashion. And so like I had said earlier, this is not, this is just a tool, kind of like a crystal is a tool, and certain modalities to get you to a place are tools, tarot readings, maybe pendulums, things like that. But this is a tool, this isn't, even though for me, for like basically it was quite a long, pretty much my whole up until recently, to be honest with you. So, almost 6.5 years, I really relied on this. And I think that that's okay because it brought me to where I'm at today. And I can tell you where I'm at today is amazing. And it's getting ready to be more amazing. And so also everything that I did choose and discern to listen and receive is backed up by every other person who's been through, their own different spiritual path and different, ways of connecting with themselves. And so when I said earlier, like some, or maybe it was in the previous video, but some people can awaken and then 5 years later, they're rocking and rolling and jamming away in their spiritual healing practice. And granted, I know we're like, it doesn't mean that, that everybody's still not healing, and there's no, that's neither good nor bad. It just is. That's just, we all have different journeys. But that's the thing though, is that I just forgot what I was going to say. So hold on. So it was, again, this is a tool, bottom line. And so I because of what I have, like I say, my recent dark night of the soul, this recent tower moment was profound. So, like, just, I'm honored to be in this type of understanding that I'm at right now and understand why everything had to happen in the way and the divine timing that it did, period. And I'm grateful. But okay, so now, like I say, or like I was trying to explain, is I've realized that this is something. Okay, because again, yeah, you have, yes, you do want to still make sure that, you're, again, it's about balance with everything. So discerning is huge because you can have a lot of videos that are being sent to you. So it's not always, sometimes it'll be some of the first videos that come into your feed once your algorithms start, forming. And like I say, it's messages, it's all messages, but there's direct messages. I My spirit team knew, and we apparently, I've come to the conclusion that this was part of my soul contract, is that I was supposed to learn and understand this to be able to disseminate this information out to the general public, that you don't want to be scared, or you don't want to not utilize this. I kind of got forced into having to do it because I couldn't go back to school for what I wanted to because of the con man who had, I was completely raped of all my money. And sorry, probably shouldn't have used that term, but just saying, it was all gone. I had nothing left. And then it stayed like that for just a minute, but was still, was still maintaining and surviving, but just barely. And then, and so this was something that I felt I had to understand and experience, because you do hear a lot of people say you don't want to get yourself too sucked in to being online and on the internet and this and that. And it's true. You need to know how to do things safe, like you need to know how to make sure that you're keeping your computer and or your phone protected, like by using things like VPNs and, whether you use proxies or whatever. But, it's just another, it's a good way to keep yourself protected. And I'll get into more protection videos. Anyways, let me try to hop back on track to why I wanted to make this video. What triggered this for me, okay, was the fact that I was actually, one of my guides, and like one area that I've actually started to also receive messages from my divine team, on top of receiving it, starting to finally receive and feel and trust. Because that was the thing, is I shut my intuition channel off on my own level, and then in the ways that I was being siphoned by not doing the right cord cutting. And this is where understanding the energetic and the spiritual side is important. But see, here I veered again. I'm sorry. I don't mean to veer and get off track here. Hold on. um, okay. So when you do this, it's, oh, Okay, so I think what I was just trying to finish saying, see, now I forgot. I'm sorry, because I thought I stopped the timer and then, anyways, hold on. So that's right. Some of my recent coaches, messengers are tarot readers. And part of it is because I feel like I'm also supposed to, I've been called in that direction as well, let's just say. Um, so discernment on the ones that there's only really like two that I have that I feel solid with and that I've called it out even before I like the one that I only had up until recently. I only added a second one, but the first one, her name is Shavi Zane, and just promoting her. So like she's awesome. If I'm planting a seed for anybody, like she was planted for me, I mean, I hope she resonates for you, like she does with me. If she's meant to for you, because she has been like my oracle for the most part at the moment. Because she actually called out and started calling out in her readings. Everything else was like spot on for me. I was just like, I feel like you're reading directly to me. And then there'd be some times that she'd talk about my family and then like that there was this betrayal going on from my mom and my dad and like a sister, brother, and aunts and uncles. And I'm like, what? No, this is what happened to me from the con man. This is not my family. There's no like I'm like, God, that's really weird because she's really been spot on with things. And I'm like, but this does not resonate with me. This is not well, okay, maybe. And then I'm like, maybe not everything was supposed to be for me. And just, maybe that's how this works. Still kind of trying to, feel out my messengers and always kind of going, not just taking what they say as, that's my truth, making sure that I feel that and really trying to resonate with that. And that's the other part about this that you need to do for yourself is does it feel true to you? Does it resonate with you? Does the truth resonate inside you where you're like, that's true? So, anyways, so just quickly going back to the Shavi Zane part where she's discussing my family, about a year before I decide to reconnect with them. This is where I'm hearing all this information. And she's truly the start of my spiritual understanding, too. Just FYI, where it really was like, oh, I need to do protection. Oh, I need to do cord cutting. Oh my God, I need to do, like, there's this whole other spiritual cleansing, attention, awareness that has to be had, period. And, I didn't know that. And that's what any hindrance that had occurred in the very first 4 years of my healing then, that would have been part of it. And so I find out a year later that all these readings about my family were true to the T. And that's why I say it blew, and that's when I was like, holy shit. She's literally reading like my life. I'm connected to my energy's connected to hers. Like this is wow. And so that is actually a really good story too about how, and actually how she was fed to me wasn't through me finding her through my feed. It was through my fourth mold house move after I got mold exposure off the first house, me and my two cats and I. And then it was the fourth because I had to move 8 times from 8 different moldy homes while healing myself and two cats until they transitioned in the third house. However, the fourth house is where I meet she was, I thought, on the same spiritual path as me, but this was my first example, kind of second example, but first hard example of just because somebody says that they're spiritual doesn't really make them spiritual. It's like in anything, there's people that are true to things and people that are not as true, So that's the other thing to kind of take from this if you have not discovered that or figured that out yet. So she had been listening to Shavi Zane, and one day it was snowing after a huge snowstorm, like 3 feet. We were both shoveling and she was listening, and I was like, "What are you listening to?" And that's how I found that connection, which that to me was the reason I had to come in contact with that particular house. That was that was gold that this girl gave me. She got me sick because of her house too, because she also had radon levels that were high in the house. And once you're toxicity sensitive, you're sensitive to everything. So you're a barometer for toxins now, all of them. So it was, again, I'm grateful for being able, because she literally, because now this is literally a go-to contact and coach for me. Anyways, sorry to get it all into that, but so this one recently that I found, because I haven't really been too impressed by, or when I say impressed, this is not a negative thing, just meaning like, no, certain people have to talk to you, just like I have to talk to, there's only going to be certain beings that resonate with my words, my message. And especially right now during this really awkward period for me, you'll really have to resonate in order to make it through my videos. So anyways, listening to this girl tonight, and right after I had done my second video for today, and previous to her, there was another, because because I designate personal time to my YouTube algorithms. And that's part of what I do for my education still, because of the fact that I just need to do it that way at the moment, if you understand what I'm saying. And also, like I say, to me, it is like, also now that I'm finding out how to kind of be within myself and listen to myself and trust my own intuition, which is really exciting as well. That's a part of it. This is why I want to give this type of information, if it's not known already, to any of you. 222 or 2244 on the clock just passed, to any of you who that this could be helpful, because like I say, or like I was trying to say, is that this isn't a substitution for going within and trusting your own intuition. This is that tool in the interim period where you might be high anxiety, having panic attacks. You can barely sit to have a meditation at all, more than likely. A minute is a long time. Where even like mindful walking, maybe you have a fear of being like outside. And your mind is going. It's a really good way also to kind of get your mind focused in an area, if you're in that focus space, because you find the right person that can speak to you and that's speaking your language. When all your life nobody has spoke your language, it's magical. Like, you're like, finally, people, we're talking the same thing, like anyways. Um, so, okay, the message was that the main message I got from what I heard from her, and then this other guide from earlier, was you're so protected. So if any of you are getting this, you are so protected right now as well. Just know that, and if you've been feeling that, this is your reminder. That's your intuition. I'm your intuition reminder at the moment, because they were mine. I've been feeling that too, that like insanely protected, and feeling my power in the ability to keep myself protected, as well as having a full on army or just military team of backup right now in a way that I have never felt through this process. Not saying that it wasn't there before, just I am feeling it. Like right now, even as I say it, like that's why I gave that face. I just, oof, there was like an electricity that just went through me. Whew. And so the confirmation for me on that, because I was feeling that myself, was the fact that both of them said, you need to know that you are protected. And they both said it in that style, like you need, like pointing and, really getting up to the camera and like, you need to understand. And for me, that is how it's like, okay, it's like, when you're a person trying to trust yourself because you were trained all your life not to trust yourself because you weren't in that type of environment, it's a helpful tool. That's what this is about. How AI and algorithms can be a helpful spiritual tool to connect with your higher self. And so I hope that this plants some seeds for at least one person. That's my hope and my intention. If more, yay. And yay for you. Because it has been a game changer for me, and I'm more than happy. I'm like so honored that I can share this. If this is unknown and not understood, and if anybody does like not or wants more information, let me know. I would be willing to speak more about it. But I feel like I at least got the main information out that I wanted to about it. And if anybody has been using this or it has helped them in ways too, I would love to hear your stories, your experiences with it, because I hesitated on putting this out because you hear a lot of people, try to say like, you really have to go within. And I'm like, yeah, it's true. It's true. But I noticed too, like I said, this is where I'm noticing, and this is just true. It's factual. We all are on different soul contracts. And some of us have easy, not, and I'm not trying to say easier and harder, but you get what I'm saying. Some of us have chosen the ascended master's path, like and not even to use that term. I'm trying not to use that term anymore. Ancient, wisdom, ancient wisdom, the being an old soul who's done this journey a lot of times, and anything less traumatic than what you experienced would have been boring. Just remember that. All right, so I'm just about at 30 minutes, and so I'm going to cut this off. Yeah, like I say, would love to hear some comments. I am sending all my love and gratitude to all those high vibrational beings. And again, I do put protection around this YouTube compartment, as well as any of the high vibrational beings that are and have, listened to this video, especially up to this point, but any high vibrational beings that even watched a little bit. Sending so much love and gratitude. Thank you for watching.